All right, I'm hidden in my bathroom for my kids, and I'm going to read this book that I wrote when I was 11 years old. I have not read this since I wrote it, probably. I don't think that I have read it since then, so I have no clue what is in this, other than the fact that some of it is probably plagiarized from YouTube videos that I was obsessed with at the time. So let's get into it. Walking around thinking about what to do was useless, so I decided to invite over my amazing boyfriend, Corey. My name is Cassandra, so those were my two best friends' names, but people call me Cassie. I have dirty blonde hair. She actually had brown hair, but I had blonde hair. I have dirty blonde hair and sea green eyes. He has very light blonde hair and ice blue eyes. He is the funniest person I know. He was going to take me to the local ice cream shop. I love chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream. When he walked in, it smelled so good. It smelled like mint chocolate chips and sprinkles on chocolate-covered ice cream. It was an amazing scent. I couldn't even describe how good it was. I smiled as the fresh scent of mint filled the air. Not too long after, our friends Stephanie and Samantha arrived. They are twins. They both have deep chestnut brown hair and light brown eyes. They both have completely different personalities. We talked for a while. At about 9:30, he dropped me off at home. I got out of the car slowly. I gazed up at my 2-story house. The scent of pine trees filled the air. We lived near a forest. I walked inside of my house to find that I was the only one home. It was dark, and I couldn't see a thing until I turned on the light by our pearly white piano. I have lessons every Sunday. Tomorrow was Wednesday, and I was going to school with Stephanie and Samantha. They don't fight as much as you think they would. I have always had fun with them. The next morning when they picked me up, I was wearing a blue tank top and skinny jeans. I actually looked pretty good. I grabbed my pink backpack quickly. All of my friends had their name on it. It also had a small rip down the side. I ran to the back seat of their pink convertible. The top was down and it was very breezy outside. The wind smelled of rain. It was 7 a.m. We went to school way too early. When I got there, school went by very fast. At lunch, I had a slice of cheese pizza and an icy. My favorite kind they have is strawberry. After that, the day went even faster. It was already time to go, and Samantha and I were both rushing to the parking lot where she parked her cotton candy pink car. We waited for Stephanie up front. While we were waiting, Corey came up to us. We talked for a while and then Stephanie came, so we had to leave him there. ... After I got home, I had a snack. I also did my homework. It was really easy because they were teaching cells again. I finished my homework at about 9 p.m. It was late, according to my mom, so I went up inside my room. But right when I was about to put on my night clothes, Stephanie called me. She said there was going to be a party at her house, and it was going to be totally epic. Probably everyone was there, so I snuck out. I got in one of my dresses. Then I quickly got out of the house. I jumped in my red Ferrari. My mom would never know. Well, at least I hoped. When I arrived, Stephanie and Samantha were very excited. Their house was really big. Of course it is, because they have a pink convertible. There was a bunch of people. Corey was even there. Throughout the party, I wondered how they got this many people. I had so much fun. At least their house was big. A lot of exclamation points. I was with Corey lots of the time, ... But I also hung out with my 6th grade buddy, Natalie, meaning that they were friends in 6th grade, not that she is a 6th grader. She is really awesome. After that, I was able to sneak home. I cleaned all of the evidence. Then, instead of going in the front door, I climbed into my already opened window. I was so lucky that my mom never noticed me coming in. Then I was able to change into my night clothes and go to sleep. The next morning, I had to go to school. Except today was going by very slow. It was the slowest day I have ever experienced. I started out with science. We were still learning about the parts of a cell. My teacher thinks it's so astounding. It's not. After that, I went to the subject that is a nuisance to me. I really don't like math. I am completely awful at it. We were watching this bizarre math video. I wasn't looking forward to it. When it started, I realized that it wasn't that bad. I was able to survive through it, so I could make it to language arts. My teacher there is really funny. He's pretty cool about not giving any homework, unlike my math teacher. We read a story out loud and we popcorned it through the room. We actually had fun. I was fine until the bell rang. I was going to civics. My teacher always gave us homework, even on Fridays. It was absolutely undeserved. She gave us a quiz every single day. Right now was supply and demand. I really didn't understand it, so Corey tutors me. Then we grabbed our backpacks and we headed to lunch. I was sitting with Jacob and Bailey. I buy the school's lunch on a daily basis. It isn't that bad if you evade the burnt ones. After that, the day went as smooth as soft serve ice cream. It was going by quicker than it did this morning. As I waited for the final minutes of school to end, the school goth was staring at me with his cold ocean blue eyes. His name was Zeke. He used to be my friend till he turned to the dark side. Okay. Then, the moment everyone in the whole school waited for all day was here. School was over, and it was weekend. Lots of exclamation points. I was going to a movie with Corey. My mom thinks I'm going to my friend's house. She doesn't like it when I hang out with Corey. She thinks he's a bad influence on me. He actually might be, but I don't care. All I want is to be with him. I was running to the front of the school thinking about a bunch of things. Was my mom ever going to find out? I had no clue until some weird thing happened. When I got home, my mom looked so angry that she could probably knock someone into a coma. That's something you want to avoid. Why have you been seeing Corey when I told you specifically not to? She asked me with no hesitation. I was afraid of her at the moment. I am doing all of this because I love him. Don't you understand true love? I shouted. Well, obviously I don't, she yelled. Go to your room. I cried and I ran to my room. She has never been this serious before, and that's what was weird. What was wrong with him? Why did she hate him so much? She forgot to take my cell phone, so I called Corey and told him about what happened. He was very sad when I told him. My mom was the only person keeping us apart. There was nothing else that could keep us apart. Later, I heard a pebble hit my window. It was Corey. I opened my window and he climbed up. He looked at me in the eyes. I was overwhelmed with happiness. Could I be happier? I wished there was somewhere we could go, where it could be just us, Corey explained to me calmly. That's what I wish for every day, I told him as I grasped his hand. I actually meant it this time. I've had many relationships, but this is the first one I am actually serious about. We can never be together, he said, taking his hand out of mine. He looked like he was about to cry. Yes, we can, as long as our parents don't get in the way, I shouted. He frowned. I kept wondering, why he did that the whole night. I couldn't sleep at all. It was all just so confusing. I didn't know what to think. It was a balmy Saturday morning, and I was feeling depressed. I was texting Samantha. I told her what happened. She was in complete shock. I didn't know how to handle this, so I didn't. I avoided the situation for 3 weeks, thinking it would magically disappear. It actually did for a week. Then he came back. I would try not to remember that one moment when we were lab partners. It just wouldn't work. Then the goth came up to me. Instead of making fun of me, he tried to make me feel better. I felt pretty comfortable around him. He told me amazing things that I only thought could be fairy tales. It was remarkable beyond anybody's imagination. I was actually falling for him. After about 10 minutes, he asked me out on a date. I thought for a few seconds and said yes. Corey couldn't care. He's not my boyfriend anymore. Wait, oh. Oh, okay, so I guess they broke up. When nighttime came, Zeke picked me up with his black truck. We went to go see a movie. It was a pretty good movie. I was pretty sure he liked it too. After that, he brought me home. I felt a calm breeze of air. He got out of his car and came over to me. He was my rainbow, and I believed every single detail of his amazing stories. They were very hard to believe, yet I believed instantly. He kissed me on the cheek. "How about I bring you to school tomorrow?" he asked me calmly. I nodded as I grasped his hand. I walked to the door of my house, and I was surprised to see my mom was angry again. Why was she angry now? "Was that Corey?" she yelled at me. In my head, I was bursting out with laughter. No, it was Zeke. "Corey isn't even my friend anymore, thanks to you," I shouted, running to my room. I slammed the door behind me. I went to my bed and just cried. That's all I did for about 3 hours. I then heard a knock on my window. Who could it be this time? I looked before I opened it. It was Corey. Why was he here? It's not like he cares anymore. "Zeke is a player," Corey shouted. "You can't be with him. He's going to play you hard. And when he does, remember this. I love you, and that's how it'll always be. Are you going to remember?" I looked down and cried for about 10 seconds. Then I looked at him and nodded. I hugged him, knowing it was possibly my last time feeling his hug. When he left, I questioned myself for some weird reason. Why did he come back? Is Zeke actually a player? Many questions were going to haunt me overnight. The next morning, he picked me up and brought me to school. Today also went by very fast. I was lucky it did. There was a party tonight. Lots of parties. I probably wouldn't have fun, but it was worth it to go. At least I hope it is. At the party, I was walking through the crowd alone. In the distance, I saw Samantha and Stephanie. But then, I suddenly smelled smoke. I wondered where it was coming from. Then I saw it, right before my eyes. Corey's friend Kyle was smoking. He's smoking. Yet I still continued through the crowd. Kyle grabbed me out of the crowd. "Want one?" he asked me. I tried to run, but my feet were planted firmly on the ground. I shook my head, saying no. He shrugged his shoulders and threw it on the ashtray. I made a disgusted face. "It's not that bad," he shouted. I rolled my eyes. I ran up the stairs, but he was following me. "Where are you going?" he shouted. "Somewhere you can't get to," I shouted as I ran into an empty room. There was nowhere to run. There was nowhere to hide either. All I could do was stand there. He kicked the door open, and by that time I was panicking. He gazed at me. He shoved me into the wall, and I fell to the ground. I was in a lot of pain. Then, all of a sudden, Corey burst through the door and saved me. My hero. When I stepped out of that room, I saw Zeke standing there. I was kind of confused. "If you are my boyfriend, then why didn't you save me?" I asked him. When was he her boyfriend? They went on one date. He looked kind of shy. He looked at the ground, and a tear raced down his cheeks. "It's a long story," he said. I was not going to take that superfluous answer again from him. I have heard that one way too many times. I thought about what to say for a while. Then it came to me. "Well, I would love to hear it. Sit down and tell me," I yelled as I sat down at one of the couches. "Okay," he started. "I saw you running up the stairs. I thought you and Kyle were just playing around until I saw Corey run up the stairs after you. After that, I had no clue what to do, so I just ran up also. I saw Corey burst through the door. I knew there was trouble, so I waited. When you did come out, the way you talked to me made me feel really bad about myself." "I know that's not what happened. Tell me the truth for once," I yelled. He never told the truth to me, and I was hoping this one time he actually would. It was depressing. I didn't know what to say since it was his turn to talk. "Okay, why can't you understand how much I love you? I would never lie to you," he said, grabbing my hand. I frowned and pulled my hand away from him. "Was it you?" I asked him. "Okay, it was me. Can I go now?" he shouted in my face. My eyes filled with tears as he ran downstairs. Corey sat next to me. When Samantha saw us together, she was overcome with joy. But then she saw me crying on his shoulder. I considered that the time we got back together, but we were only apart for 2 weeks. We don't usually have an off and on relationship, and I wasn't prepared for one. "Do you love me?" I asked Corey calmly. He was surprised that I asked that simple question. "Of course I do," he shouted. "Why would you ever believe I didn't? I wouldn't be sneaking around like this if I didn't." I wasn't very surprised that he ran off right after that. He was very sad that I did that to him. I regretted that decision for the rest of my life. He was everything I could have ever hoped for. I frowned as I walked outside to my car. A tear raced down my cheek. Then, the next day at school, I tried to pretend that I wasn't sad. It obviously wasn't working because people started to notice how sad I was. They tried to cheer me up, but it wasn't working at all. I just would sulk down in my chair as a friend would calmly ask me what was wrong. At the end of the day, Zeke came up to me. He felt bad for me. He didn't see what I was going through. I hoped he did, but obviously he didn't. He was a player, and he was really good at it. He was playing with my emotions, and it was going to get really ugly really fast. "Why did you think he did that?" he asked me. That wasn't the question I expected. I gave him a straightforward answer. "He only does what he does because he cares about me, unlike you. Just leave me alone. I don't want my feelings to be played one more time by you," I yelled. "I would never leave you. You mean too much to me. You are amazing. I love you. Why can't you just see that?" he shouted. He actually began to cry. I definitely believed him. I was worried about that. There was not much I could do. I just nodded my head. He put his arm around me and I rested my head against his shoulder. He was actually comforting me. He was the first out of many to actually make me feel different. Today, Zeke was taking me home instead of Corey. Zeke was so much nicer to me, and he respected my opinions. I love that about him. When I went inside, my mom looked at me and looked back at Zeke. I haven't seen her that happy in years. The last day I saw that smile was the day before I met Corey. She really didn't like him. He kissed me on the cheek and left. My mom just went to her room, leaving me unaccompanied in the kitchen. I walked to my room. I was going to a party tonight with Zeke. We had already planned it when he was driving me home. I was going to have so much fun. I just didn't know how much fun was too much fun. Later at the party, I was actually having no fun at all. It was so boring. Zeke left me waiting for an hour. When he did arrive, there was a lot of exuberance in the air. I couldn't help but smile. Everyone was in high spirits. When he was about to take me home, I stopped in the driveway. Zeke was confused why I stopped. It was pretty obvious. I didn't see how he didn't distinguish the reasons. "Yeah, Zeke, it's obvious." "Where's your car?" "I think somebody stole it," I told him calmly with no uncertainty. He gazed out into his driveway in panic. He didn't see it either. So he got a pair of keys out of his pocket. He walked up to a motorcycle. I panicked as he stepped on the gas pedal. I went and got on the back. Before we left, I called my mom. "Is it okay if I ride on a motorcycle?" I asked her. "No, never in your life will you ever ride a motorcycle," she yelled. I couldn't say anything, so I just hung up. It wouldn't matter. Since my house is kind of far from his, I just took the ride. When we were riding, I noticed we were getting faster and faster. The increase was very clear to me. "Hey, can you slow down?" I asked him in panic. "Why, don't you like it?" he asked me. "Aren't you having fun?" "No, now please slow down," I yelled at him. He wasn't slowing down. I could tell we were going faster and faster. Then I looked how fast we were going. It said we were going 90 miles per hour. I started crying. "I'll slow down if you tell me that you love me," he shouted through the loud gusts of wind. After that, I said, "I love you." "Okay, can you do me a favor? Take off my helmet and put it on you. It's bugging me," he told me calmly. I'm pretty sure this part I plagiarized. I did as he said. Not too long after, we skidded across the road and we crashed into a building. Going 90 miles an hour, they're gone. We were lucky to have survived. They survived crashing into a building at 90 miles an hour in a motorcycle. Both of them? Anyways, we were very lucky to have survived. Very lucky. But Zeke was in very bad shape. Yeah, with no helmet, 90 miles an hour into a building on a motorcycle. I was actually fine. When I visited him at the hospital, there was only one question I had for him. Why didn't you just slow down? I asked him with a tear rolling down my cheek. When we were riding, I noticed that we were going faster. I headed for the brakes, but they weren't working. I didn't tell you so you wouldn't be worried. Then, when we reached 80 miles, I knew we wouldn't last much longer. So I wanted to hear you say, I love you one last time. I thought I was going to die, but I still gave you my helmet so you would live, he explained to me. At that time, I was sobbing. He risked his life for me. I didn't even realize it. That was the sweetest thing any guy could ever do for me. I put a small purple teddy bear on his bed and left. People would walk by in the halls of the hospital asking me what was wrong. I would say nothing in return. When I got home, I knew that no one would keep me away from Zeke. After a few weeks, Zeke was perfectly normal. After just a few weeks. We were happy together for a long time. We didn't have anything to worry about until one day I was going to his house. When I walked inside, he looked depressed. Are you okay? I asked him calmly. I'm going to be in the Navy, he stated calmly. A tear ran down my face. Just go. I'm sorry. I ran to my car. I ran to my car and I drove myself home. I thought nothing would come between us till this day happened. For some weird reason, I took that as a breakup. So I called Corey. Meet me at Stephanie's house at 10 p.m., I told him calmly. Meet me at Stephanie's house at 10 p.m., I told him calmly. I hung up before he could say anything. I went there at the designated time. I saw him, so I ran to him and hugged him. I just started crying. Do you know how hard it was being without you for all those years? I asked him. His jaw dropped, and he was crying at this point. Tears of happiness raced down my cheek. He drove in my car to my house. I saw my mom in the kitchen. She leaped with fear as she saw Corey. I am going to date him whether you like it or not. I am 19. You can't choose who I can and can't date. I am going to decide what I'm going to make my life to be, I yelled. I'm glad you see it like that, she said. Just, I don't like that boy. What's so bad about him? I asked her. Okay, you can date him, she yelled back at us as we walked to her room. Probably meant her own room. I leaped into Corey's arms. What was I going to do about Zeke? I didn't know for a while, so I called him up and told him everything. To be continued. And no, I did not continue that because that was trash. Okay, it really wasn't that bad.